The Dancing with Wisdom podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Dancing with Wisdom podcast, where we invite you to join us on a quest to make sense of life. My name is Sunil Raheja.
And my name is Elliot Frisbee, just the mere guy sitting over here,
don't say
trying
that.
to learn and get wiser. And so you know you've done the Orpheus. That was like a sympathy thing.
No, I don't know.
But it's but it's true. It's true. You know, we've gone through so much covering different aspects of wisdom, and one thing that it's been quite obvious is that it's not a case of this is the answer. You know,
No, it's not like a tick box exercise, and it's done that. Now I can move on with my life. It's
and different
much deeper
for
than that.
everybody, but they could all have the same basis of starting point and that journey to get there. But don't think that one answer for one person is the same as the answer for another. So with so much, let's just say, right, okay, I'm going to take all of this on board, and you know, I've even got the book, the Dancing with Wisdom book, and I'm following all of this, and I'm going to go for it. Surely there needs to be an element of discipline there. And that's what I want to talk about today, discipline with wisdom and or wisdom within discipline. Mm. And with that, I just want to go to actually a question that we've had come in. And this is from Emily.
Yeah.
And it says, I love the fact that the book of Proverbs personifies wisdom.
Yes, we call it that lady wisdom. Yes.
Okay. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you.
Yes.
Proverbs 4:6, the NIV.
Yeah.
She says, these are precious promises, but how practically can we build this in our life, not forsaking and loving wisdom?
Yes.
And that kind of relates to the discipline.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Because wisdom includes discipline. Actually, just as a quick aside, you've got discipline, discretion, and discernment. So if we talk about the discipline side, and learning as well, which is what this podcast is about, learning wisdom. If we take about the discipline, so the word that's used in the Hebrew is this issue about strong accountability. Like you have if you think again of sport, a sports coach who really gets in your face and challenges you to really get moving and exercise and do what you need to, and do the disciplines that you need to grow. So what it's trying to say there really is that wisdom comes through personal confrontation. By what I mean is that it isn't a theoretical thing that's in books. Books help, knowledge helps, but you have to, as it were, engage with life in its complexity, its brutality, in the pain, to develop wisdom. So, for example, if my computer's not doing what it's supposed to do, and I learn how to sort out the problem with Microsoft Office, for example,
or shouting at it.
Yeah. Well, no. It's a great illustration, because shouting at it won't be wise. But if I then learn out how the program works and how I get to do a certain thing in Microsoft Office or in Word or whatever, I then become wiser about computers. I become wiser about Microsoft Office. I become wiser about the Word program. But I only become wiser by engaging with it and going through periods when I'm thinking, I don't quite know why it's still not doing what it's supposed to do. That's what wisdom is. It's engaging with life in its complexity and developing the discipline to persevere on rather than giving up.
So the discipline is perseverance. So I get that. But what I feel like
includes it, yeah.
Yeah. So there needs to be activities.
Yes.
That people do on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
That says, so
going back to Emily's question, is how do I, as it were, keep wisdom foremost in my mind? Yeah.
Well, I think we touched on the previous one is this is the day the Lord has made, I will be glad and rejoice in it. And it's a very, very simple line. But if you're able to say that, for example, getting out of bed every morning and just sort of hang on it for a bit,
yes,
that's like a promising start. I think reminders. I could let you in on a little secret.
Oh, right.
All right. And that is when I feel like I am faltering in areas. Okay. It could be eating bad food. You know, post-Christmas, I've actually got to get back out running, you know.
Yes.
I don't feel my optimum self at the moment. Or it's a case where I'm tired, okay, and I feel like I'm going to be snappy. I have on my phone, I have an alarm that goes off every single hour.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's a silent alarm. So I just, when I pick up my
vibrates,
phone, it vibrates, or I go to it and I see it flashing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it says, remain calm, remain calm, speak kindly.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't take it out on the family.
Brilliant, yes.
Eat healthy.
Yes.
Yeah. And that goes off every hour.
Yes.
So I'm constantly reminding myself until it becomes second nature. And that alarm is annoying me because I'm already doing it.
Very good. Yeah.
So that's one way that I do it. That's how I am dedicated and sort of persevere and have that discipline towards it.
That's brilliant.
So that's one idea.
No, that's great. So as we're having a confession time, I'll give my confession time now. On my phone, actually, I've actually switched off, but I have for a number of months, actually about a year almost. I did have on my phone going off at 11 o'clock and at 2 o'clock, I think it was, a little reminder. The phone would vibrate and I'd look at it and it would say, "Are your thoughts helpful right now?"
Brilliant. And I love that.
So that would be a reminder to me to get the discipline to make sure that I'm not going down some rabbit hole.
I can hold that thought. I'm going to ask that question to everyone listening right now. Are your thoughts helpful to you right now?
Yeah.
That, I think, is so strong.
Yeah. Are they serving you?
I'm just going to write that down. So keep talking, please.
Yeah. I mean, are they serving you or not? And that is, in a sense, what we're doing is with discipline, we're getting external accountability in place because of ourselves. We lack wisdom. What's coming to my mind as well is, again, going back to Emily's question about developing the structures, is I'm going to quote another proverb. She quoted Proverbs 4 verse 6. I'm going to quote Proverbs 3 verse 5. Actually, it was interesting. This is one number down on both sides, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." So lean not on your own wisdom, if you like. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your paths straight. So there's a discipline about trusting God. You see, when I'm not trusting God, what am I? I'm going to break it down. When I'm not trusting God, what am I invariably doing? I'm worrying. When I'm worrying, what am I doing? I'm saying the universe, my world, my life is not going the way it wants. So I'm going to think about it and try and figure it out and make a solution. And if I'm not, I'm just going to keep on thinking about it and worrying about it and thinking, well, this could happen and that could happen and that terrible thing could happen. That's not trusting the Lord. Trusting the Lord is, in a sense, is acknowledging the messiness of the situation, but saying, I'm going to trust you to be working. I'm going to trust that you're going to find a way through this. And I'm going to trust by acknowledging the fact, trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. I'm not going to lean on the fact that I have to have the solution or the answer. In all your ways, acknowledge him. God, you are involved in this. You know about this situation. No situation is too small or too big for you. In all your ways, and he will make your path straight. Now, when he makes the path straight is really up to him. He might do that in the next 5 minutes. He might do that today. He might do it tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 10 years. I may not even get the answer, but I'm going to trust him that he will use this experience to mold and change me. Because the important point here is, again, remember, we think I've got a problem. This problem needs to be fixed and I need to get on with my agenda. Okay, I need to get on with where I'm going. And what I've learned about from wisdom is that actually God's got a much bigger agenda. He's saying, I don't want to just solve your problem. I want to solve the problem that is you, the person who keeps on getting into a fretful, worrying, depressive, negative, cynical state. I want to get you out of that. So I'm going to use these problems for a bigger purpose.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm also thinking, because for me, if let's just say someone's really struggling going for the full hog of wisdom here, and because we got to remember that people are going to be on the different,
we're all different,
the different parts of the ladder, right? And the different, so someone's going to be maybe right. Okay, I'm finding my place up there, and some people are just stepping on the first. What's that word? Rather
first rung.
But one thing is that they can start small and be sort of dedicated and think, right, I'm going to be dedicated towards the wisdom of my ego.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be dedicated on managing my idols, or of the wisdom of the heart, things that we've covered previously. And then when they feel the success of that, and that dedication through the dedication and perseverance of it, and getting that
making progress,
then what they could then do is say, right, well, that gives me the incentive to move on to the next step. And suddenly that walk will then turn into a jog, and effectively you'd find your partner in God.
In a relationship
you'd
with
find
God.
your partner,
Yeah.
and then you can start dancing.
To dance with life, yeah.
Is that a good way of looking at it?
I think it's a good analogy. Yeah, I mean, we're talking and processing this through. I think that sounds good. It does sound good. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we were made to enjoy life and to live life. Jesus said, "I've come that they may have life and have it in all its abundance and its fullness." And there's something about life. Zoe is the Greek word. Fullness, abundance. We talked about this before. Enthusiasm means to be filled with God in the original Greek. So
do you know the Greek word?
Entheos, isn't it? Entheos is God.
I don't know.
Entheos, I assume enthusiasm comes from that way. And I've now lost my train of thought, which I was trying to say was, so it's about life. It's about being filled with God, and it's about who I'm becoming as well as what I'm doing. Being precedes doing. Okay, in a world that we know we're human beings, but we act as human doings. That's, in a sense, walking and dancing with wisdom. That's what that's about. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to that. Let's just go back to the question and explore it some more. Yeah. So, how practically can we build this in our life, not forsaking and loving wisdom?
Yeah. Well, it is. As you said, it's a daily discipline. It's a bit like, you don't say, I had a really good meal last week, so I don't need to eat today, or I had a shower a month ago, so I don't need to shower afterwards. Okay, it's something that you don't outgrow. Okay, it's something that you need to keep coming back to.
And I suppose also it boils down to, in our lives, everyone's life is different. So everyone would have different areas that they may need to feel that they need to grow in, and have more wisdom within. So some people may think about vanity, and maybe the thing, they know deep down that's not what they want to be doing, but they feel for whatever reason that's what they're doing. So they need to maybe put a bit of focus on that.
In a sense that they're focusing on the externals too much. Yeah, they're focusing on how they are coming across to others, and obviously it is important to take care of yourself and be clean and dress nicely. And we're not knocking that. It's when my identity is based on how people are looking at me. And so I find myself deflated if people aren't paying me attention
So that's a really good point. So I think this is actually a good thing to say to that question, is about identity. And that is reminding yourself of who you are. Do you remember you touched on before, there is a part of you that no one can touch? You talked about the concentration camps.
Yeah, Viktor Frankl in the concentration camp, in Nazi Germany, yeah.
Yeah, and the people who were able to get through were the ones who realized that there was a part of them that could not be touched, it could not be harmed.
That's right.
And I think that no matter, in everyday life, no matter how, perhaps I don't use the word stressful anymore, tricky,
you said,
if things may appear, what you can do is maybe spend a bit of time and being wise and spending time using your wisdom to find out what is your identity, what is your core values, what is that, and you hold on to that, because nobody can touch that, and that's almost something you can fall back on.
Yes,
and then you can fall back on that and say, right, this is it. Hang on, we've done this. I've meditated on this. I've prayed on this.
Yeah,
this is who I am. This is my fundamentals. You're guiding me over there. You're pulling me over there. Imagination, you're taking me over there. Naughty imagination, very dark right now.
Yeah,
this is happening. Oh, I'm getting cross because of that. Well, do you know what? I'm going to fall back on this, because in my little book I've got in my pocket, I am this person, this person, this person. Close my eyes. I am that person. Restart.
Yes, that's right. So that goes back to, don't believe everything you think, but think carefully about what you believe, is what you're saying there. Yeah, don't believe every thought that you have, because our minds are full of all sorts of thoughts. And especially if we're in a dark place, or we're tired or hungry, they can very quickly, as it were, slip down that way. But if you think carefully about what you believe, you think about your identity, your identity in Christ, how you're how you're completely accepted and loved, and how ultimately you have everything you would ever want or desire in Him, then you can begin to free, as it were, from those other temptations or things that are steering you away. The other thing about discipline, just to put in there really, is, and again, we have touched on this before, but I really want, this is on page 124. It's a quote from Eugene Peterson. See, the danger is when you think about discipline is you think about it living the perfect life and doing everything correctly. And it's actually engaging with the messiness of life. And what he talks about is, what we talk about is the different characters in, what I love about within the biblical scripture is you see all their faults and mistakes and failings, okay? They're not brushed over. You see all, the mistakes that they make, for example, Abraham, who's revered by 1.5 billion people around the world, Jews, Muslims, Christians, he escaped a famine and he lied to Pharaoh that his wife Sarah was his sister. Or Jacob, who's another one, who's revered again, he cheated his brother out of his birthright and deceived his father. Moses committed murder, and when chosen by God to lead the Israelites out of slavery, he complained about his inadequacy. King David, who wrote a lot of the Psalms, was guilty of adultery and then murder. And in the New Testament, we have Peter denying Christ 3 times. But what Eugene Peterson says is, it's not their worthiness or merit that's the point. It's the intensity, and I'm quoting here, the intensity with which they lived Godward, the thoroughness in which all the details of their lives are included in God's word to them, in God's action in them. It is these persons who are conscious of participating in what God is saying and doing, who are most human, most alive. So, it's taking that Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, is trusting God with all they're trusting God with all their heart. And they're not leaning on their own understanding. They're acknowledging Him. You keep on bringing God into the equation. It's finding markers in the day. When you start your day, your hourly reminder. I talked about my 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock reminders that keep, we've talked about the Abide app that John Eldridge has got, which you can download on your phone, that gets you to stop and say, I give everyone and everything to you, Jesus. A reminder that it's not about me. I'm not the center of the universe. Because that's what the ego does. The ego keeps on saying, I'm the center of the universe. The ego has this sort of ruthless, ceaseless concentration on, unsmiling concentration on the self. It goes on and on and on. It's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about me.
I want to, I was thinking if I could edit that and put it out as a clip.
It's all about me.
It's all about me. It's all about me. Just running with what you're saying there. I like that little reminders. That could be little reminders around the house as well. It could just be little things. It could be, at the top of my head, a bit, you get some daffodils for £1 from the shop.
Yes.
And you just put 1 daffodil in every room. Yeah. Yes. Something as simple. I'm just using this example, top of my head.
Yeah.
You could put 1 daffodil in every room. And every time you look at that daffodil, it reminds you.
So
every room you go in, you see the daffodil.
It's a trigger.
And you remind yourself. Okay.
It's a trigger,
trigger. It's a trigger. Now, this is it. This goes to like negative triggers. This is what I was leading to.
Yeah.
Is that I think as well is that we can do that, but we need to have the discipline to be focused in doing that, because what often happens is this spare minute.
I know. Yes.
Just for those who aren't watching on YouTube, I'm picking up my phone.
That's right. And you're going,
I can check this. Has anyone emailed me? Well, they may have emailed me in the past 2 minutes since I last done it, And so basically, a digital screen is never going to be as great as something tangible, something that we can touch, something we see, smell, and feel. You see, so I would argue that a daffodil is much stronger than an alarm set on my phone.
That's interesting, isn't it? I think the key thing is that these are all tools, okay, and so we need to make sure that these tools like iPhones and things are serving us rather than we are serving them. And again, there's a certain way that it's like notifications. I mean, that's a very simple practical thing, is switching notifications off on your phone. So if you get an email or you get or a message. Some people's phones, then they ping or they vibrate, and otherwise you're continually on the beck and call of other people's agendas, of other people's things, and so that's a very simple discipline, is just to switch those off. So
everyone's always giving me a hard time for WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I do not have notifications on WhatsApp.
No, but I think,
because half the messages that come through are kind of irrelevant. It's just you go on, sometimes there's a group that, you may be involved in, and it's like 128 messages. And well, I don't need to read most of them, but occasionally I'll go on and,
That's right. And so the question is it serving me or am I serving it? And the other thing that's important as well is that there's a neurotransmitter in the brain called dopamine. And what happens is that dopamine is the pleasure hormone. And when you go to, when you open your email, your WhatsApp, you're looking for it and you don't know when it's going to come, that there might be nothing there, or there might be a message for you. And that might be a great message for you. But because it's unpredictable, when you get it, you get a dopamine hit. And unfortunately, if we rely too much on our smartphones, we're relying on dopamine hits from the phone. And like any addiction, our tolerance, as it were, goes down. And so and so our ability to engage and enjoy life becomes less and less. And that's why it's really important to find times when you're separated away from technology and you can engage, with your daffodil or with nature and be fully absorbed in that. And so you're getting a healthy dopamine hit rather than something like from, from random bursts from the phone.
Yeah, you are right. And I've read about that myself, that because of course that's the chemical which, you have post childbirth, of course, as well. And it's
oxytocin you're talking about.
Oxytocin, but it's a similar kind of vibe. But what happens is that when you're using your phone, you are getting quick fix.
You're getting quick hits. Yes.
Quick hits. And it's like a drug. It's addiction. I need some more. I need someone to like me. Yeah. What post can I put out to like me? Now, if you're using it for marketing, for work, that's a different thing. It's like, right, we're going to put up, we did a post of this. We made sure that a little bit of the lights, got loads of lights around us you can't see. We've got lights everywhere here. And we want to have this in. That looks quite cool. That will show people that we're doing it properly. Yeah. That's different. But for the satisfaction of that kind of, I need loving or a hug, build the relationship and have a hug instead.
Yes, that's right. Build it, but that relationship with real people. Yeah, that's with reality. I mean, in a sense, that's what wisdom is. Wisdom is engaging with reality, is what it is about, really.
All right. So, what are we saying regarding discipline then?
What are we saying regarding discipline? So, discipline is hard won and hard fought. So, you have to hunger and thirst for it. Again, I think athletics is a good example. An athlete has to train hard. We see somebody running a 4-minute mile or something like that. It doesn't just happen, okay? They're doing lots of training and work behind the scenes where nobody is watching to be able to perform like that. And I think in a sense, to walk and to dance with wisdom requires a similar, maybe arguably even greater level of discipline. I mean, but this is really about, in a sense, it's about mastering life in its fullness. And in that sense, we're always going to be learning. We're never going to feel that we've arrived. And that's exciting because there's just so much. And because again, we're talking about the God of the universe, the God who's created everything and has a wonderful future for us in Christ. That is, that means that this life is just a warm-up act for something even more beautiful.
And you should. That's a lovely way to wrap it up. Thank you. And just say, look for others who are seeking the same thing.
Oh yeah. Because we're on this journey together. I think that's what's so exciting. We talked about that in the previous podcast. Is that this is not. I mean, one of the things that really frustrates me about our world, a secular, atheistic thinking world, it says that faith is for the private sphere. It's just something that you don't discuss privately, and. I mean, so our world. I'm going to on a bit of a campaign. Our world is promiscuous about sex. Okay. Sex with anybody, anytime, anywhere, okay? But it's private about faith and wisdom and God. I want a world that is promiscuous about God, that brings God into every aspect of life, that wants to celebrate God in every arena, okay? With everybody in every situation, and is private about sex. That's what I want to turn the world upside down. That's what I want. That's what I think Dancing with Wisdom is about, really.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, we can only get there one step at a time.
Absolutely.
And I think if everybody is working towards it and working towards their inner wisdom and development, then I think that there's generally a positive look ahead.
Well, that's what we're praying for, and that's what we're looking ahead to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd like to thank Emily for the question today. Brought in some really good conversation there. As always, one question brings up 1,000.
And, you could have thought one question could do so. That's amazing, isn't it? One question should bring up a whole podcast. So that's
absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
But we want to hear more. What are your questions? What are your thoughts? What is it you want to discuss and to know? So when I say to know, that's more of a discussion, because we can't guarantee that we know it, and we probably don't, but we can discuss it and see where it takes us.
And see where it takes us. Thank you so much.
So, do leave a nice comment on YouTube or any questions you may have. Please do subscribe. Please do click the like. And if you listen on the podcast, we'd love you to share it with your friends and give it a nice review. So, Sunil, they can always get in touch with you directly. How would they do that?
So at drsunil.com.
Absolutely. And you can get hold of me, Elliot Frisbee, at Elliot, 2 L's, 2 T's, at monkeynutuk.com, or that's on your Monkey Nut Audiobooks, Instagram or Facebook page. And we look forward to hearing from you. So, Sunil, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Dancing with Wisdom podcast, presented by Sunil Rahija and Elliot Frisbee. For details on the Dancing with Wisdom book and its accompanying workbook, please visit drsunil.com. If you know someone who would enjoy this podcast, then please share it, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and help it to grow by giving it a nice review. Life's challenges can diminish, define, or develop you. Which one will it be? Make sure you hunger for the wise one. The choice is yours.